Hello and welcome back to the channel. Kamala Das, My Mother at 66. Short questions with their answers in 30 to 40 words each. Where was the poet driving to? The poet was driving from her parents' home to Cochin. During the journey, she observed her mother sleeping beside her and reflected on her aging and fragility. How does the poet describe her mother's face? The poet describes her mother's face as ashen and pale, like that of a corpse. This comparison highlights her mother's aging and frailty, evoking a sense of fear and sorrow in the poet. What does the phrase "as a late winter's moon" suggest? The phrase suggests her mother's pale, colorless face, symbolizing old age, weakness, and approaching death. The late winter's moon lacks brightness, just as her mother's life seems to be fading. Number 4. What childhood fear does the poet refer to? The poet refers to her deep-seated fear of losing her mother. As a child, she feared separation from her mother, and seeing her mother's old, frail state reminds her of that same fear. Number 5. Why does the poet look at the young trees sprinting? The poet looks at the young trees and merry children outside to divert her mind from the painful realization of her mother's aging. The trees symbolize youth, movement, and life in contrast to her mother's stillness and old age. Number 6. What do merry children spilling out of their homes symbolize? The merry children symbolize energy, enthusiasm, and the cycle of life. Their playfulness contrasts with the poet's mother's aging, emphasizing the difference between youth and old age. Number 7. Why does the poet smile repeatedly at the end of the poem? The poet smiles repeatedly to hide her pain and fear of losing her mother. It is an attempt to reassure herself and her mother that everything is fine, even though she feels deeply emotional inside. Why does the poet use ellipses at the end? The ellipses indicate the poet's suppressed emotions and an incomplete, lingering thought. It conveys her silent grief, longing, and inability to express her true feelings about parting from her mother. What is the significance of the airport scene? The airport scene represents a separation and distance, both physically and emotionally. It highlights the poet's struggle to cope with her mother's aging and the inevitability of losing her one day. What is the central theme of the poem? The central theme of the poem is aging, the fear of separation, and the bond between a mother and daughter. The poet reflects on her mother's growing old and her own inability to accept it. Number 11. How does the poet contrast youth and old age? The poet contrasts her aging mother with the young trees sprinting and merry children spilling out of their homes. The vibrant, energetic images highlight the stark difference between youth and old age. Number 12. Why does the poet feel pain seeing her mother? The poet feels pain because she realizes that her mother is aging and may not be with her for long. The sight of her pale face reminds her of mortality and possibility of separation. Number 13. What literary devices does the poet use? The poet uses similes, means a scene like that of a corpse, one pale as a late winter's moon, and a personification in young trees sprinting, and symbolism in the moon representing aging and transience. Number 14. Why does the poet compare her mother to a corpse? The poet compares her mother to a corpse to emphasize her frailty, exhaustion, and proximity to old age. It reflects the poet's deep emotional turmoil and fear of losing her. Number 15. What does the phrase "put that thought away" indicate? It indicates the poet's attempt to push away her painful realization about her mother's aging. She tries to distract herself by looking outside at the lively scene. Number 16. What does the poet's farewell line suggest? The poet's farewell, "See you soon, Amma," suggests an effort to reassure herself and her mother that they will meet again. It reflects her emotional struggle to accept separation. Number 17. Why does the poet describe the mother as wan and pale? The poet describes her mother as wan and pale to highlight her weak and lifeless appearance, reinforcing the theme of aging and the fear of losing a loved one. Number 18. How does Kamala Das portray human relationships in this poem? Kamala Das sensitively portrays the deep emotional bond between a mother and daughter. She captures the pain of witnessing a loved one age and the silent suffering of separation. Number 19. What emotions does the poet experience in the poem? The poet experiences sadness, fear, helplessness, and love. She feels a deep ache seeing her mother's frail state, but hides her emotions behind a forced smile. Number 20. Why does the poet use simple language and free verse? The poet uses simple language and free verse to convey raw, unfiltered emotions. The conversational style makes the poem deeply personal and relatable, enhancing its emotional impact. Please do like this video and subscribe to our channel for such informative and educational videos. Thank you very much.